You are listening to an entertainment program put together by a company called Financial Ineptitude. Anything said on this show is not an endorsement or professional advice. Would you really want to tell a court of law you were suing us because you thought taking financial advice from two idiots on a podcast put out by Financial Ineptitude was a good idea? Really? Clown hat smiley face.
Well, hello and welcome there, holiday boys and girls. It's a new year.
Well, almost.
That's right. You made it through 2021, and your prize at the end is this podcast episode.
Are you drunk yet?
A little.
I'm not talking to you.
Oh, you're asking the listener. Shit.
The listeners. Yes. Get ready for disappointment, folks.
Kyle, what are you talking about? We're recording. Of course I'm a little drunk. How else am I going to do it?
Since there's no trading today, does that mean I can start my 10 milligram cocktail? Wait. 10 milligram Tom just sounds so much better than 10 milligram Kyle, so I don't think that quite works. That's what the wife's been calling me.
10 milligram Kyle?
Yeah, edibles are there's no hangover. It's amazing.
Oh. You discovered. Okay. 10 milligrams. There we go. All right. No, edibles are great, man. They really are. I love them.
I think that's my just rewards.
Yeah, edibles.
What does that have to do with our guest today?
I don't know. You brought up weed. Normally, I'm the one bringing up weed, but I'm delighted to hear your take on it.
It's a new year.
It's a new year, everyone. Here at the China shop.
This year, roles will be reversed. I will be the foil. Wait, am I the foil now? Who's the foil?
We're each other's foil.
You'll be play-by-play. I'll be color commentary.
I do so bad at play-by-play.
I expect no goofing around. I will do all the editing. You will do all the scheduling.
Oh, shit. All right, folks. No more guests in 2022.
All right, let's kick this thing off.
Oh, yeah. Let's get the first guest in here. Let's crack that door open. Hey, Edmund from D-Chain. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Fantastic.
Better now that we hit record.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you saying?
I went through a whole diatribe before.
Let me shove Dr. Hans out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
No, things have been going really well. When we last spoke, I was working on something I couldn't really talk too much about, but we wound up launching a fund.
Oh, you did?
Really focusing on blockchain. So that's been a long time coming. We about 8 months of filings with the SEC and lawyers. And as you can imagine, just a lot of people that you love to talk to, like a root canal.
Especially lawyers.
Exactly. At the end of the day, they're the only ones that win in all of this. So,
right.
No, we wound up launching about a week ago. So,
what's the fund name?
It's called D-Chain Capital.
D-Chain Capital. Does that have a ticker?
Not yet. Soon, hopefully.
D-Chain Capital. And what you said it's a crypto ETF?
It's a fund. So we are a fund that focuses in on investing in companies that are really well positioned in their sectors using blockchain. So healthcare, Web3, music, entertainment.
Interesting. What was it like trying to get the funding for that? Do you have to go around and find people that want to invest and believe in your idea?
So it was, again, I started this 8 months ago. So when we were going through the original filings with the SEC, I started, meeting with investors. And interesting enough, one of the core elements of our overall investing strategy is risk management, risk protection. And when I started kicking this off, it was end of March, beginning of April, I started talking to, there are hedge funds that invest in other hedge funds. I started talking to them and individuals who manage high net worth, pockets of money. And I was speaking to them, and what hysterical was, because up until that point, cryptocurrency had been up and to the right. Like things are going so great. And the thought of putting a parachute on was just unimaginable to these people. I was telling them, look, I've been doing this for 10 years in crypto. There are the ebbs and flows, but the difference is that if you don't prepare for those the ebbs, it hits you like a Mack truck. And that first round, no one wanted to talk about any type of risk protection. And funny enough, come May, June, most of the market pulled back like 60 to 80%. And then I was getting calls over the summer. Hey, are you still taking investors? I was like, funny. The rates just went up. No,
yeah, right. Dan's had a similar experience. I think every crypto friend of his that he's talked to, he's tried to tell him to take some profits.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to listen to him.
No, it's kind of like jumping out of an airplane. It's
right.
a hell of a ride on the way down, but eventually you're going to hit the ground. So it's no one wants to talk about insurance, but at the end of the day, when you need it,
how's things going with D-Chained?
It's going well. With things picking up since the summer and the market, taking a turn, people are looking at what else can they invest in, and we've seen a lot of people starting to kick the tires, on overall crypto, and we're doing a lot of introductory courses, a lot of different workshops. So it's been a lot of fun, and a lot of people who you would not expect at all. Pretty wild in terms of like the ends of the spectrum, real young and much, much older.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been very interesting.
Huh.
I mean, it makes sense when you start digging into it. We have a lot of people coming to our site, over the age of 70, and
I mean, there's got to be some 70-year-olds that like rap too, right?
Yeah, they're called cool.
Right.
They're cool. One day, you're going to have the elderly saying, telling stories about Biggie,
right,
slinging crack, and you're like, what? You are 80, Grandpa.
Shut up, Grandpa.
What are you talking about? That's why when I'm old,
suck another Werther's.
I'm just going to get, I'm going to get those the Xerox, with the tops that come off. And I'm just going to drive around going 120 miles an hour so that one day when my grandchild goes into school and he's crying, he goes, oh, my grandfather passed away. And he'd be like, oh, from what? Heart attack? No, he flipped his vet. Like, I can't wait for
See, I plan on doing heroin.
There you go.
You know what? Why not? A little black rock never hurt anybody.
Yeah, but my thought is nobody ever thought, somebody's 80 and ODs on heroin. Nobody thinks, oh, he had such a promising life ahead of him.
Look, at that point, I mean, pants will be a thing I had stopped wearing 20 years prior. So
exactly. Or you'll be president the way things are going.
You know what? We're dream creators on this podcast.
Right. So what do you think's going on with crypto for 22? What do you see as the landscape looking like?
Well, first, let's see what happens with the overall markets. I think people just are a little bit nervous in general. What's going to happen with inflation, and I think that will have a lot to do with how people start to either lock down, which ultimately could be the worst thing you could do if inflation does go up, or they start to look at alternatives. But I think one of the big trends that we'll see is a pretty sizable migration from Bitcoin over to Ethereum. You've already seen a lot of the big banks start to warm up to Ethereum. They include, there's even futures contracts you could buy for them, but there's some big things that are on the horizon for it. It's moving completely over to a whole new operating model, which will change the economics of Ethereum. Aside from the fact that in moving to that new model, it's going to encourage a lot of people to lock away what they have in their current wallets. So you're going to see a lot of the supply dwindle pretty quickly. So, well,
that's usually good too if you want the price to go up. Yeah,
and it's I think a lot of people are discounting everyone wants to talk about, the next meme coin or what's the next hidden gem. But if you look at just the last year, if you had just bought Ethereum at this time last year and it was trading at $550 or $600, it would be very hard to outperform Ethereum. It's been up about 7x. So you look at Chainlink. Chainlink has been flat the whole year. Bitcoin is, I think it's about 50% up. So
where's Hamster at?
Yeah, who knows? Hamster. Probably in some poor gentleman's alibi to a doctor. I don't know how it got there.
I don't know. Could have been anything.
So, I don't know. I fell on it. So
Lemmy wings.
Yeah, there it is.
Lemmy wings.
I'm with you though. I've long been more of a fan of Ethereum than anything else because Ethereum feels to me like the Like if I use the gold rush analogy, all these other coins are like the people trying to like run out there and prospect, and Ethereum's like the shopkeeper that's selling all these tools to these other people trying to open up shop or trying to set up their claim.
Selling
and that's
shovels.
the person who makes the money. Yeah. And then he buys them back when they go broke and then sells them to the next guy.
It's great analogy. I mean, there's just a lot coming down the horizon, but there's certainly going to be, I think things that are going to pop up that may surprise some people. I think you're seeing right now with metaverse, which that's only going to gain steam whether people enjoy it or not. It's sort of like NFTs, where at some point it's just like I can't hear it anymore.
Well, Facebook switching to change their name to Meta really helped out my Decentraland coins.
Yeah, well, what's funny is that they're now accepting cryptocurrency for advertising.
Oh, really?
Pure Brits, because they said no to it for all this time. But when they have skin in the game, all of a sudden, and you even saw Jack Dorsey, who looks like a stand-in for Gandalf from Lord of the Rings. He just wound up leaving Twitter to go now to a blockchain company called Block. What's going to be Square is going to turn into Block.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing. I mean, there's some pretty big movements, both in terms of the markets and then even business leaders who are just kind of going all in now at this point.
Do you think that's how does that help by letting people, exchange it for services? Like, how does that help it? Because I feel like it's like the same thing as like spending my stocks to go see a movie. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. For
things that hold value as a medium of exchange, you're completely correct. It's, you don't want, for me, I would not want to use my Ethereum to pay for something.
Right.
But there are tokens that are just earmarked to be used on the services that are built on Ethereum. So if you look at Ethereum like the App Store, and Apple, which is the Ethereum Foundation, curates the App Store. If you were to have, just like you have in apps today, the in-app purchases that what you buy in one app, you can't just port it over into the next one. What you have in your Nike. Now, clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about because I'm horrific with exercise. But let's say I was a runner. I couldn't take something I bought in the Nike app and then plug it away into, my sleep apnea app. Now I'm going down this route. I'm not, whatever. Too much about me.
Okay. So it's kind of like the way like the whole Decentraland ecosystem works. When you're purchasing those coins, you're using it to be able to purchase things in that virtual platform. But if you can actually use it to purchase something else outside of it, then it just becomes more useful and more interest in it.
See more, it's called composability, and you're going to see a lot more of that. Really became very popular with DeFi, but using the tokens that are specific to the projects as ways to buy and to interact, I get it. It makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's something I think we're all familiar with, whether when you start to take a step back. But I think people using the cryptocurrencies that are underlying Bitcoin, Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, I think you'll see a lot less emphasis on that side.
Speaking of Cardano, why is it dropping so bad?
Because no one builds on it. It's the most wild thing. It's for a long time it was getting a lot of heat for being called a ghost chain because there's no development on it. They just in September just introduced smart contracts, which means prior to September you couldn't do DeFi. You couldn't do NFTs. As you're starting to do, more of these, staking type programs, on protocols, you couldn't do those. So it put itself at a pretty serious disadvantage, despite the fact, and there's a lot of argument around the reasoning, but the founder of it, Charles Hoskinson, who co-founded Ethereum, it sort of felt like he took his time out of spite. Because Ethereum was so, leaned in on smart contracts where he wanted to go a different path.
Right.
Now, again, he focused more on, a lot of goodwill and focusing on developing world. But yeah, I think it had a lot of problem. It got delisted from some exchanges, but it's very interesting. And there's a huge, if you start to listen into these guys, they, some of them hate each other, and it's wonderful to listen to.
Oh, I love that.
It's wonderful.
All right. So we got the new fund that you're managing, dChain Capital. We've got dchain.com that the people can find you at. Is there anything else you want to share with the people? Anything else you got planned for 22?
Come check us out. We've been creating more and more videos on our YouTube. just to keep people,
that's right, the YouTube
just
channel.
to keep people up to date what's going on. It's a lot of fun. We don't monetize it. We're not trying to pump up any coins on our behalf. It's just something that we get to interact with people.
Thank you so much for not doing that.
Yes.
It's aside from the fact that there's real repercussions if I were to do that with the SEC.
Hasn't stopped Musk.
Unless there's like a Xenu from Scientology is the only one that's going to stop Musk.
Right.
Right. Yes.
But it did stop Kim Kardashian.
That's a good point.
So who knows? Yeah, but I would say come check us out. It's just youtube.com/dchained. And come check out some of the stuff that we're putting out, talking about what's going on in the market.
If you had to pick one crypto for 22, which one's it going to be?
Ooh, you know what? I'm going to go with Woo. WOO.
WOO? Yeah. Write this down.
WOO. Exactly. Because then when it goes up, you get to Ric Flair GIF, everybody.
Oh,
yeah. It's so much fun.
And then if it goes down, you just read it backwards.
Yeah. Then, ow. There it is.
Okay. Everything in Cardano, right? That's what I heard. Move everything into Cardano.
Yep.
All
I think I'm moving my Cardano out to
EOS.
Woo.
Yeah, EOS.
EOS.
All right.
All right.
EOS. Okay.
All right, Dan.
We're going to have you back on in a year and you're going to answer for that EOS
Yeah.
recommendation.
That's what I want to be known for. Great.
Wait a minute. Did I write down the wrong ticker?
It's, you got to go for XRP.
I keep hearing people talk about that one on
Actually, not bad.
on the Reddit. I think loves that.
The Wall Street bets.
Yes, and they're never wrong. All right, and insert the disclaimer right there, please. And let's go ahead and wrap this one up.
I think we've gotten in a lot of trouble already.
Yeah. I'm just going to bleep out all the tickers. No problem.
Yeah,
there you go.
No more tickers, more about the hamster jokes.
Hamster jokes. Well, thanks for coming back and catching up with us, Edmund. We'd love to have you back on for a real full-length episode, maybe coming up here in the new year. But as for now, we do have to kick you out of the shop. It's a really busy day, and we got to keep the customer flow to get our interviews per hour up. We apologize. You are great.
I get it. Well, thanks for having me on.
This feels like a 24-hour marathon.
It does.
Hats off to you guys. It was a lot of fun, and let's catch up in the new year.
Awesome.
All right, for sure. Thank you so much for coming back.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, our next exciting guest for you, we have back in the shop Ross Klein from Changebridge. How you doing, Ross?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you doing?
Oh, fantastic. Mm-hmm. Doing this special with all these guests is just a chance for us to get a vacation finally. That's the secret. We haven't told anybody. Christmas weekend off. So what's been going on, Ross? Last time we talked to you, you guys have been running your fund, Changebridge. You had 2 ETFs that you guys were handling.
Yeah, that's correct. So we're still managing our 2 funds. CBLS is our long-short equity ETF. It's a fully transparent, actively managed long-short ETF. And CBSE is our long-only sustainable equity ETF, also fully transparent, actively managed. Both funds listed on the NYSE. Check them out at changebridgefunds.com. Happy to walk through them with interested investors. We pride ourselves on our transparency and accessibility, and so we take that really seriously.
I know last time we had you on, one of the ones that we were looking at with you, or before you came on, was your short position on IBM. And I got to say, that looks like that's really paid off for you.
That has paid off. Yeah. And, not a whole lot of change to the thesis. The big takeaway on that quarter, and we are currently short IBM and CBLS. And again, you can see our holdings at changebridgefunds.com. But, the big sort of takeaway from the last quarter was slowing cloud revenue. And that's supposed to be their growth driver in the future. So, as long as that remains the case, it's sort of hard to imagine new shareholders step in or the multiple expands. So remain confident.
Interesting that With your thesis being on that, it looks like Salesforce just finally caught up to that, because I think Salesforce is big on cloud services. And it wasn't until I think their earnings just happened early December when they finally took a fall from 300 and sitting at like 260. I guess if I would have looked a little closer at your thesis, I could have jumped on that a little quicker.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of moving parts in the space, and that's not Salesforce's sort of core offering. It really doesn't. They don't go head to head with IBM.
No, they're more with Oracle, I think, right?
HubSpot, yeah. I mean, they're higher end. It's CRM services, right? So it's a bit different. Now, IBM will go head to head with Oracle, with Azure, with Amazon, but IBM tends to be more of this hybrid cloud as opposed to the pure cloud version. And so it puts them in an interesting dynamic when they're trying to sell a product that may be competitive with its legacy business.
Right.
So we remain high conviction on that short.
Is there anything new that you guys have added to the portfolio since we last talked?
One interesting company is Warner Media, or Warner Music, WMG.
It's one that IPO'd last year, didn't it?
Yep. Such an interesting business model. They have the library of music. It's an oligopoly business. Monetization of music is improving with the likes of Spotify and Apple and Amazon and a lot of different streaming platforms that are growing globally. But importantly, they're providing an important service to the musicians. There are only a few really large players who they compete with. And for the first time in the last few years, in decades, the end market for music is growing. And, we think that's probably a long-term secular trend at a reasonable valuation.
Who are they partnered with? Are they grouped up with Spotify, or is it somebody else I'm thinking of?
Oh, I mean, everyone is selling to Spotify. Yeah. But the three, it's Warner, it's Universal, and Sony, who pretty much dominate the market for labels. And, they all compete for major artists, but Warner's done a fantastic job in the last few years of maintaining or growing that market share, building that library. And we think it's highly likely that they'll continue to do so into the future.
Oh, that's awesome. To put that back on my watch list. I think I took it off after the IPO. That was WMG, right? Ticker?
Correct.
I'm currently making a Changebridge longs watch list.
Are you? That's a good idea, Dan.
Yeah, longs and shorts. I want them both on there because looking at Warner Music Group's chart, I'm like, is it going to find support here or here? I bet it's going to find one or the other.
Right. What do you got planned for this coming year then? You got anything new on the horizon? You got any?
We just brought on a new salesperson, a director of institutional sales, who we're super excited to have as part of the team. And, we plan on introducing the Changebridge funds to more people this year. We've got a full year of performance under our belt. The funds were, from day one for a year, they were in the top quartile in their respective groupings on Morningstar.
Nice.
And so, we believe strongly in the active ETF structure, offering transparency, accessibility, tax efficiency relative to sort of legacy mutual fund structures. And, we think it's important that we are a source of education and explain to folks the benefits of the active ETF. Whether or not it's our funds, certainly we believe strongly in our funds and wouldn't be out there doing this if we didn't.
I'd hope so.
But, we also think it's important to educate the community on the merits of the ETF structure in general. And let people know that ETFs are active also. It's not just index funds. And the active ones out there have all the benefits that the index funds have, with the flexibility to, try to generate returns.
You got any more plans to go on any more TV speaking gigs? I saw you on the TD Ameritrade Network before we had you on last time, and I thought you were phenomenal on there. Oh,
thank you. I appreciate that. We hope to be on TD Ameritrade and some of the other programs that we've been on in the past. We've been on with Oliver pretty often, and he is just a fantastic host. They do a great job there. So, for your listeners, if you're looking for programming to watch during the day, the TD Ameritrade Network really does provide quality content. And, they talk about stocks, they talk about options, they they do a great job.
Anytime you're going on there, just shoot us a message. We'll make sure we share that on Twitter because I definitely don't want to miss another one.
Oh, fantastic. We'll do.
Well, let's talk about where you think the market's going to go over the next year since you're the fundamental expert.
Recording this at the beginning of December.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a really interesting 2021, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Everyone started the year in full on sheer optimism. Mm-hmm. We were coming out of COVID. We thought, the Fed was still stimulative. The White House was still stimulative. Mm-hmm. And there was nothing but optimism abound. Mm-hmm. And as the year went on, different parts of the market started to get taken out a little bit. You had the COVID beneficiaries getting hit. You had in, March and April, you had long duration, high valuation stocks getting hit on the concern that rates were going to go higher. We sort of absorbed a lot of that throughout the summer, but the real ballast all year was mega cap tech, mm-hmm. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla, Google, just to name a few. And so long as those 6 or 7 companies, which make up a huge chunk of the S&P, continue to be ballasts, it's hard to see the broad market correcting meaningfully, but that's not to say that they can't. And so we're talking about companies that are multiple trillions of dollars in market cap. At some point, and I'm not making that call now, but at some point that law of large numbers comes in and says, can you keep growing at this rate for much longer and mm-hmm. maintain your valuation? And look, we haven't hit that yet. And plenty of people have predicted it for years. And so I'm not necessarily making that call, but I will make the call that there is a lot of risk in the average portfolio today because of how top heavy the market is. Mm-hmm. And so it's an important consideration and always a decent time to consider diversifying out a little bit more into small and mid cap stocks. And as you do that, we would suggest finding an active manager and finding someone who you understand what they're doing, who you can see what they're doing, and hopefully someone who offers some active share relative to that S&P 500 index.
Excellent. Yeah, you touched on the mega caps. I mean, I don't know how many times I watched the S&P, as an average drop, 5-10 points, and then watch my portfolio lose 20 because I'm not invested heavily in Apple, Nvidia, Google. And then when it goes right back up to where it was, I'm still down, 2.5. And that's been going on all year, it seems like. One of the things that I thought was really interesting this year was like the pivot, I thought, from Powell. It seems like he just really switched from dovish to hawkish at the beginning of December when he said they changed his tone on inflation.
Yeah, that'll be really compelling for us to watch. I think most market participants are trying to make a comparison between now and December of 2018. Mm-hmm. Which was also Powell, when the Fed started to raise rates and the market panicked. Mm-hmm. This is different, it seems, in that we're not talking about starting to raise rates. We're talking about being slightly less stimulative.
Right.
And so it's a risk. It's a concern. It's worth keeping an eye on. I would actually take a look at the coming Changebridge monthly investor letter. We spent a lot of time talking about the other side of that argument around mm-hmm. where debt levels are and what options the Fed really has at its disposal right now. But it's certainly in their best interest to relay to investors what they plan to do. And that is what Powell's doing now. He's giving us plenty of heads up. And I think that, hopefully alleviates some concerns that investors might have this time around.
I would hope so. I mean, it seems like he dropped enough hints leading up to it, but definitely didn't see him just coming out and saying that inflation is no longer transitory. I thought that was a big shock.
It was, and the market sold off 2%.
Yep.
So in December of 18, the market sold off, I think it was 18%. It was at least, more than 10, and I think it was close to 20. And so, we haven't really reacted. We reacted to the new variant. We reacted to Powell's comments, and they all sort of happened in close proximity to each other. But, all things considered, the market's been pretty resilient through that.
That's a good point. Okay, well, any parting thoughts to leave us on, Dan?
I like turtles. No.
Oh, can you hear Dan? Because I can't.
I cannot.
Okay, well, I've been talking.
I see his bars moving.
I don't have any good thoughts. You're fine.
Changebridge, everybody. Make sure you check them out. Longtime fans of our show. We're longtime fans of them. Hopefully we'll be able to do some more collaboration with them in the future. Still want to get Vince on too, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's try to find a good time.
See who's the fun one of the two.
Oh, you'll figure that one out quickly.
I assume that means you.
No, all credit to Vince.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Ross. It's been great having you. We hope you have a wonderful 2022. And we're going to boot you on out the door, but we really appreciate your time. Can't wait to talk to you again soon. All right, Kyle, who do we have up next with us?
Obi Onyejekwe. Am I saying that right?
Obi Onyejekwe. How are you doing?
Thank you.
Good.
I know you did that on purpose, Dan.
I did.
Be on the spot. Obi, last time we talked to you, you were fundraising for your project, You Know Me, and I think you're you're teaching us about the microcap ventures.
Yeah, equity crowd funds, and we used micro ventures. So it went well. We got, I think we raised about close to 130,000 through that last that equity crowd fund, and then right now we use that money to pretty much build out our new software plugin called Avatar Creator. So it's a plugin for After Effects, Premiere, Final Cut, and Photoshop, which will allow you to easily create a 3D avatar and animate it as well. That's almost done. That launches. I think we actually do like a soft launch mid-December.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, exactly. It's like right around the corner. And then hopefully the official launch, like first thing in the new year.
So getting you back on to tell us what you have coming up for the new year was perfect timing, it sounds like.
So besides the launch, of course, everything's riding on the launch. We got a couple angel investors that are interested. So hopefully we can lock them in right before we go through that initial launch, and then scale. So we'll be featured on FX Factory. So it's a site that sells plugins for mostly Final Cut, but Final Cut, After Effects, and Premiere. And ours will, I think, be the first for Photoshop, which is huge, just because it's a bigger audience than all of them combined.
Oh yeah.
So now anybody using Photoshop can now easily create 3D characters. So
that's amazing. Yeah, because we first talked to you, you were just, I think your focus was more on like just animators, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Animators and game developers. And so we figured, by going after kind of that bigger audience, but, audience that's not as skilled, it's just, just more money to be made with an audience that could really use your tool.
And just something that makes it simpler for like the amateur too. I mean, that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. Because, something like that, you'd have to really learn how to use major programs like Maya, Cinema 4D. And you're talking about years of training on those tools before you're anywhere close to proficient to building a 3D person.
And now, is this something that you guys are maybe thinking about marketing to a video game to like put myself in the game?
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything from something on that level, whether it be a video game or any other metaverse. No, that's a new thing now. Like everybody's rolling out with the metaverse. You could be on that level, or you could, let's say you're developing your own video game, and let's say you need random new characters. This is a way to easily create those characters quickly versus building it from scratch.
Does it have randomizers on it too?
Well, it's custom. So you pick the skin, the tone, the hair, the nails, the outfit. It's all you.
Wow. I just want to put my own face on my Call of Duty character for when I get somebody headshots me.
So that way they can look you in the eyes when they do it.
Yeah, look me in the eyes when you kill me, motherfucker.
Exactly. The next phase after that will be rolling out more versions. So we'll roll out, like, let's say, like a warrior pack. So you'll be able to create whatever warrior, whether it be knight in shining armor or like a Roman soldier or whatever. So it spans the gamut of history. So we're going to have a pack just for that. Then we'll roll out like a superhero and a supervillain pack. So if you want to make a Batman-looking character, another character with a cape, you can. We're going to roll out monsters and aliens. You can do that.
Oh, cosplaying to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the ultimate plan for the company then? Are you looking to be maybe acquired by one of the bigger name companies? Or are you trying to go public and run this thing?
Pretty much an acquisition. Our game is to really scale aggressively and really gain a significant foothold in of market share for software dedicated creating animated content and for games. And then, most likely acquisition similar to my last startup.
Ah, man, is it too late to invest?
No, I mean, we're about to close this round because after this, the reason why it's definitely going to close is once we launch and generate revenue, then officially when we do go back to raising more capital, everybody who got in right about now and before will have made money, or at least their investment will have gone up because the valuation of the company is going to go up.
Mm-hmm. And you said the soft launch was beginning of or end of December, I think you said?
Probably somewhere beginning in middle January for soft. Well, soft launch is middle December, and then probably official launch is in January.
Okay, so the soft launch will be after we publish this, because people should be hearing this around the holiday break.
Exactly.
Oh, so remind us again, and we'll be sure to put a link in the description. What's the website that people are using to do the micro capital venture investment?
Oh, so micro venture. So that fund is or that equity crowd fund is over. So that. But now I'm still able to take investment from individuals right now. So the angels are coming in as low as like $5K. We prefer like at least $10K, but look, if you got $5K, screw it. We'll take it. Right. And then some as high as $25K. And then there's some that we're talking to that at 50 to 55. So it ranges. And then of course the investment vehicle that we're using is an convertible note. So of course, which spells out which is standard. So either convertible note or what's called a safe note. Mm-hmm. But we generally go with the convertible note just because most investors prefer that overall.
So what are you going to do if this thing does get sold and bought out by somebody else?
Oh God, it depends on how much it gets sold for. But, let's just say it's amazing, like $800 million.
Right.
I would most likely partner with a team to kind of do a VC fund, potentially backstage capital. That would be a dream. But more definitely like a partnership where I'm working with them, and that I wouldn't want to have a VC all by myself. Right. That would drive me crazy. I'd also want to invest. We'll start probably 3 more startups, but believe it or not, I wouldn't run them. Mm-hmm. I'd probably be more like a lead investor, visionary, and then bring on the CEOs to kind of run them and then help build out the team to run it as well. That way I'm more like checking in every month saying, cool, good, keep it going.
It's always nice when somebody else has to answer for the
yeah.
When you can just say, do this, and then why didn't you do that? It's much better than trying to explain it. Mm-hmm. So no island in the Caymans then? No vacation home?
I'd definitely buy a nice home, nothing intense. But I'd really focus like on that. And of course, personally building a family. So that would be another goal as well.
Oh yeah, just need something to suck all that money right away once you finally get your hands on it, right?
I'm sure children will, devour it all.
Oh God, be like the new version of Married to Children.
Mm-hmm. So those would be the top goals. I mean, I think I definitely have ideas on what. I mean, I have driverless car ideas. Even a lot of people say it's saturated. Well, is it? Tell me one driverless car company that's doing that's in action. Well, there is. Funny, I take that back. Right. There is, I think, a Korean company that actually is live. I think they're doing deliveries, and I think Domino's is doing deliveries as well.
I think I saw that just start. Yeah. I know there's been test runs of, I think, Google and Tesla.
Exactly.
But most of the time, I only know that because I see, that somebody got in an accident with them.
Yeah. And exactly. And I think that's why I care more about the stories of they say like Google and Tesla are the leaders, but I'm like, I feel like the leaders are the ones who are actually making money with their cars on the road right now.
Right. Well, and it's a funny thing too, because there's a difference between like a technically good driver and like an actual good driver. I think my sister got in a couple different accidents. None of them were her fault, but if she would have been, just because it's not your fault doesn't mean that you made the right decisions.
Yeah,
there's a difference between being right and being safe.
Exactly.
And I think Tesla and Google, their automation may not quite understand that distinction yet, and that might be a harder thing to program.
Yeah, there's definitely multiple scenarios that they're struggling with. I think the famous one that people talk about is, if you can't avoid any type of collision, do you hit the car, the child over here, or go off the bank and hit this couple? And it's just like,
the child is
right? So the algorithm really has to process split-second information and say, okay, we're going to have to sacrifice X, Y, Z.
Right.
We'll solve that trolley problem with AI.
Oh, that's got to be really hard to is that morally difficult to program something like that?
Yeah, it's more morally because it's at some point it's going to go wrong in some way, shape, or form because, the algorithm, I guess it'll understand male, female, child, older person. And then you're going to have to kind of you may have to just base it off of put children first and then everybody else second.
Right.
That's it.
Oh man. Well, I guess it's not a bad thing to teach AI compassion.
Yeah.
Or morality. So yeah, we should probably focus on that.
It's got to know what rules it's going to violate, right?
Yeah, better than death to all humans.
Exactly. I think even with even kind of going back to our company, I think one new thing that we discovered is, and I think I kind of mentioned, is the whole metaverse and and then of course NFTs. I think the new thing we're realizing, well, not even so new, it was a few months ago, probably like 5 months ago, I was at an NFT gallery show and art show, and then I showed them an avatar creator, and a lot of them were blown away. They were just like, whoa, love to have this. And I was, well, why? They're like, well, I guess, I don't know if you know much about NFTs and Beeple.
A little bit.
Yeah, Beeple I think he's made the most money with NFTs in general. And a lot of them see our software as a way to make content like Beeple because they're probably only 2D artists. So they don't have that 3D capability. So in their mind, they're like, oh, hell yeah. We could have a field day with this and probably make an insane amount of money with the software.
Did Facebook changing their name to what was it, Meta or something? Meta. Did that also help with some of the buzz surrounding your guys' upcoming release?
Yeah. I think that NFT kind of metaverse market and group was already there. I think you could say Facebook kind of helped validate that.
Yep.
So I went from knowing about the metaverse and of course, gaming, and then, but not putting it in my pitch deck because I know investors won't get it.
Right.
Once Facebook announces, once Microsoft and Adidas and Nike and once all of those guys announce it, now I can put it in my pitch deck. And even then, even still, I put it in a pitch deck, but you got to find investors that get it.
Right.
Because a lot of them still don't get it.
We don't. We're trying. Nope. I don't think anybody gets it, really. Yeah.
It's a trip. I just got off a presentation from an investor at a VC firm, and he made some amazing points because I even asked, towards the end, I asked a couple questions, and I asked, do you invest in software companies that you don't fully understand? And if so, or do you do your due diligence and then invest? And his answer was amazing because I really thought he was going to be like, hell no, I don't invest in anything that I don't understand. He actually said yes. He said by nature, as an investor, most of what you're investing in, you don't understand fully anyway.
Right.
You're not going to understand every single market. And then he said, if you do fully understand it, there's most likely not going to be any innovation in that arena anyways. So that kind of blew me away. And he said, yeah, so it's my job to do due diligence on every single opportunity that comes my way.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, because, trust, and he even said it in his presentation, he said a lot of VCs fail because for multiple reasons, but one of them, he did say they're ultimately lazy. He said a lot of them just don't do the due diligence necessary to validate, investing in the right startup. So yeah, I felt like finally somebody's telling the brutal, honest truth.
That seems so rare.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's amazing, Obi. Yeah, we're really looking forward to seeing the launch. We'll keep an eye out for that soft launch here before this episode airs, but the main launch in January. We wish you all the best. Really glad to catch up with you and hear what you got going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you for, you're one of the first guests that I think we ever had on the show. So I kind of have a special place in our heart.
Thank you.
I know we've come a long way. It sounds like you have too.
Thanks. We got more to go, but hopefully it all definitely works out.
Better than yesterday. That's our motto.
All right.
All right, Dan, you got anything else before we set up for the next one here?
No, I think you summed it up pretty nice. Obi, it's been really great having you back. We can't wait to see what happens with that software. I'm convinced I'm going to just start seeing it everywhere to add myself to it, whatever game I'm playing.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, onward and upward for you. Can't wait to talk to you again in the future and find out how 2020 treats you. But for now, we got to kick you out.
Okay, thanks.
Real quick, where is there anywhere that you want to share as far as links?
Yeah. So if anybody wants to check us out, it's getunami.com. Once again, the website is getunomi.com. Or visit our social. I think it's just at Unami, or just search Unami for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
I think we have links for everything except the website, so we'll make sure we update your profile on the guest page.
Cool.
All right, thank you so much, Obi, for stopping by.
Thank you.
Who's next on the list, Dan? Who else do we got to get through?
Next up, we are talking to Anthony Fatseas. Welcome back to the China Shop, Anthony. How are you doing today?
Dan and Carl, thank you so much for having me back. I am doing great. I've had a busy day, I think, similar to you guys. But we love it, don't we? We love talking about this stuff. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it.
Oh, we've had that conversation a few times.
Yeah, exactly.
I think on the last episode we recorded before this, Dad was talking about ruining a brunch with this stock market.
Oh, really?
It's true, I did. Stocks.
Yeah. It's always on our minds. I'll be talking to my girlfriend and I'll come out with something and she's just like, I do not care. Stop telling me. Stop talking about it to me. And I just never learn, do I? I'll always just I have an idea and she's like, oh no, not again.
Should join our Discord. Plenty of people you can chat with on there.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think my ideas are more just crazy out of the blue, random stuff that.
You'll fit in with Dan.
Have to go to brunch one day.
Yeah, right?
Actually, it might sound more crazy in chat because you don't get the accent to kind of blunt the craziness.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm. I have to say, at least you don't have to see me. That's a good thing.
I'm just wondering what the craziest thing you can say and get away with and come off as charming.
Just because you have an accent?
It might not come off as charming, but I could probably get away with it. I just get a look. That's normally what happens. It's just like, not again. And they'll be like, when there's those very serious people, and some investors like this, or some people I've interviewed are very serious. And they don't like it's not that they don't like it, but they're just like, okay. That jokey attitude. Yeah, they're just like, he's the host, but next question.
Who are you talking to? Because we seem to find everybody who wants to let their fun side out, it seems like.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. And it's not everyone, but it's I think some institutional, and it's just a certain type of person. And I'm sure we all know those people who are just, you make a joke and they just don't say anything. And you're just like,
yeah. Oh, those are the best. I love those.
Yeah, well, they don't even say yes. Sometimes they just just look at you and you're like, oh.
That silence is the best too, in my opinion. You should just let that play out for as long as it goes.
Yeah, definitely.
Leave it in there. It's so delicious.
The power silence. Who speaks first?
Yeah. Last time we chatted with you, you were planning on getting your podcast going hard and heavy. I think you were trying to plan some more guests and get that going. How's that been going for you?
Yeah, it's been going great. I think, what we were talking about before, one of the guests that you actually introduced us to, George, that was super interesting, just about mind over markets. And
I love George.
I listened to that episode. It was so good.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And it's just, he's one of those people who's just got away with words, and he just makes these complex, things so simple, which is, it's sometimes good, sometimes bad when you're like, oh, that sounds easy. And you're like, oh shit, no, it's not.
Yeah, that's the main problem. Yeah, it sounds so easy. Then you try to do it and it's not quite as easy as you thought. And then you listen to his video again, like, oh yeah, it is easy. And then, no, it's not.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's just that loop. But, but yeah, I mean, like, just talking to some really smart people. And I think that's the thing, or not even, they are smart, but they just have interesting things to say. And that's what I love. It's like, and it's probably why you do it as well. When you hear these people, they just have interesting opinions, or, you might not even agree with them, but you're like, okay, I can understand what you're saying. And that's sort of, who I've been talking to. And it's been going really well. And yeah, I'm just looking to grow it. And I still have to invite you guys on, far out.
Oh yeah, we do need to get on there.
Yeah.
Actually, awesome. You sent us a list of guests too that I'm going to start going through for this upcoming year.
Yeah,
try and see if we can get some crossover.
Yeah, but you guys are crazy. You do well. I used to do 2 a week, and that was too much for me. Are you guys still doing 2, 3 a week?
Well, we do a bonus episode. It's usually an interview if we can get them lined up, which lately has been kind of nuts. And then we have our regular show. That's kind of they're kind of different shows at this point now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like one is just me and Dan kind of trying to give our take on what's going on in the news, look at a couple stocks, and talk about what we did for the week and how bad it was or how good it was. Normally bad.
It's just like, if we start from the beginning, will it just be like the slow, like just going into insanity? Is that what we'll see? So we'll start at the beginning and it's like normal, same people. And now it's just like, I don't know. I feel like that sometimes, like, I don't know. I had a breakdown about something today and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, what is happening?
I'm slowly turning into Jim Cramer. Buy, sell.
Just yelling random words just for no reason.
Dan's problem is the longer we go on, the more he fidgets. He's either got a clicky pen or a lighter that I could always hear going on in the background.
Really? I'm the same.
My wife's been picking up presents for him, looking for silent fidget toys.
Oh, really?
Oh,
you
that's
like a stress
hilarious.
ball or something.
She had a stack of them that I was testing out, and like I found every single one that had like a click to it, and I was like, nope. And there's like multiple other things on them. There's like 6 things you can like kind of fidget with, but like there's one that's clicky, and the clicky one's the satisfying one. I'm like, nope, this is the one I gravitate to. It's the one he's gonna want.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I love pens, and I, just a cap. I'll be like this on off. And like I had an interview before, and I dropped the lid, and it makes this massive sound. You're like, oh god damn it! But
when we first started, I used to drink beer. You'd always hear I tried to leave one beer cap drop in the sound recording as like an Easter egg.
Listen to us at your own peril.
Exactly.
You've heard our disclaimer, right? That's pretty much our disclaimer.
Yeah. Oh, they're the best. I love it.
So what do you got planned for this upcoming year then?
It doesn't seem like I'm as organized as you guys. It sounds like you have plans, you're doing this and that. To me, I'm just like, I just want to talk to interesting. I don't know what.
We have no plans.
You have no plans?
No. I was hoping to get some ideas from everybody. We
Is that what you didn't even want to talk to me? You just wanted to.
This is market research.
Your ideas and get in ahead. You're going to start it in a week, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. We're going to try and jump it, do it like a week before.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
we're not even recording.
Yeah. Oh god. You can ask for more guests, aren't you? And then you're gonna get them before.
Take the best ideas, and those ones won't get put in the episode.
Copyright Tubles.
Yeah. But I guess for me, it's, as I said, it's just talking to interesting people, and I've been so fortunate. Like, I've been able to. There's people are just so they're so willing to give their time and just talk. And I think so many people are just interested in what they do and the topic. And, I think that's the amazing thing about investing in finance. It's so broad. It's never ending. There's so many different niches and aspects that you can go into. And for me, I'm just interested in it all. So, one day I'll have someone talking about, yesterday was blockchain and crypto. The next day I'll have an oil trading, one will be like fixing capitalism, like macro. Like I talked to a guy about Iceland and the financial crisis there.
What?
Yeah, it's really, he'd be a great person for your podcast as well. His name's Jared Bibler, and he's from, I can't remember where, he's from somewhere in the US. And crazy story, he moved to Iceland. I think he went to Sweden on holiday. Or for work or something, and then he's went with the flight. He had to stop off in Iceland for a day. It wasn't included with the flight, or for a night. So he stopped off in Iceland, and when he got home, everyone was asking about Sweden, and he's like, "What? I can't even remember. I just loved Iceland so much." So he actually he was in institutional banking, and he just had enough. So he decided to move to Iceland, and then he had a few jobs with some banks, and then there was the massive financial crash, and he actually got on with the regulator. And he talks about it. It's like 10 people. It's like a tiny regulator. They're looking at these massive banks that had I think it was 11 times the market capitalization of Iceland's GDP. They were massive. They were behemoths, and it was just they were like 90, I can't remember the exact numbers, but 90% of the actual whole stock market were these three massive banks, and they all collapsed because they were just dodgy as hell.
Wait, and this happened right after he moved there?
I think it was a year or something, but apparently he worked at the banks, and he could tell there was something happening and something wrong, and he didn't like that. So it's a super interesting story. He's released a book about it, so Iceland's Secret, which I'd really recommend anyone, just interested in finance and stuff doing, reading it, and he'd be a great guest for your podcast, I'd say.
What was it called? Iceland's Secret?
Yep.
And it's not gnomes and dwarves.
No, it's not.
I think it's trolls up there, isn't it?
Trolls. That's it. That's trolls.
Or is that Sweden or Norway?
I don't know. It's a crazy place. It sounds like crazy. Like it's because it's tiny. It's only like 40,000 people. I think it's like 200,000 people. So it's a tiny place, but yeah, these banks are worth. These banks were worth like 100. They were worth like 100 billion, and apparently the issue was that if there was a bad banker, you didn't want to fire them because you'd see them at the supermarket. Like it was just like it was such like a small pond issue. Like it's crazy, just like how if you think about 200,000 people, that's nothing. It's
smaller than the town I live in.
Yeah, yes, it's like 1/20th of like New York or something, or more than that. It's just crazy to think. One block of probably New York, the whole of the Iceland.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so he was interesting, and I've just talked to some amazing people. So that's really all I'm looking to do. If people like that, that's good. But if not, then I'm enjoying it. So I think that's the way I look at it.
That's exactly our philosophy. It makes us laugh, then it makes the cut.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I like you guys so much. It's just it's probably a bit more chilled than mine as well. It's just like more chill, more laugh, but you're still getting like good content. So it's almost like entertainment plus education.
There you go.
All right, he's onto our formula, Kyle.
I know. We're supposed to be stealing his ideas.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's going to have Beatles covers.
Oh shit!
I'm writing this down. Furiously writes Beatles covers.
Or Oasis. That's the new one, right? The new Beatles replacement.
Well, maybe Oasis? He's Australian, so maybe it's AC/DC.
Oh,
yeah,
that's a good point.
AC/DC maybe. That's the classic. But no, I don't know. I'm not as I don't know. It sounds like you guys have a lot more professional system than me. I just found some random rock music.
I don't know.
It just looks like that on the outside, doesn't it? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, wow. Yeah. We've never been called professional before. I don't know how to respond to that.
It may be. It was meant to this compliment. I won't say it may. It definitely was.
Jesus, thank you.
So, what do you got? Any predictions you want to leave us with for either the markets or crypto over the next year?
Oh, well, the guy I was talking about the other two yesterday, he's an investment manager for actually blockchain and crypto sort of like investments, which is pretty crazy. So he actually works for an institution that manages family offices' money to invest in crypto and blockchain. And he was saying he's saying it's probably quite likely there'll be a correction in the market, which, I guess that isn't groundbreaking. You can't go up by 10 times without there being a correction. But I think it's something that's healthy. And then you look at the past week with inflation and what Jay Powell said, which I'm sure you've talked about recently.
Oh yes, we just talked about that with Ross Klein.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I was looking at another guy just literally just before this interview, Larry Chung, who's a very good YouTuber, and he was talking about. He thinks that it shouldn't be an issue now with supply chain and obviously new variant, but the main thing is 6 months' time. What is happening in 6 months' time? Is there still supply chain struggles? Is there still this inflation? Is it getting to the point that the Fed will have to put interest rates up? And then if they do, there's obviously that potential for stagflation, which would, be a disaster. And someone that I really respect, his name's Russell Napier, and he has this philosophy where he thinks it's impossible. There has to be inflation. Just the debt that we're seeing in terms of private, public debt it's unsustainable. There's no way that, these countries can pay it off, especially if they want to continue to grow. So his opinion is that there's going to be potentially high inflation. And, let's be honest, for us at the moment, high inflation is 2%, 3%, 4%, isn't it? Right. It's not like the 10 or 20% that we saw 30, 40 years ago, but he thinks it could be higher, and it might get to the point where, the Fed and he says the US will probably be a lot later than other countries because obviously, strong US dollar, and there might be issues with the Senate and actually passing it through Congress and all these different things. But he thinks it will happen sort of all across the world, especially in heavily indebted countries such as France, Germany, UK, Australia. I think Canada is one of the most in-debt countries in the world as well. China.
Dan found a really neat stat. This was months ago. I can't remember when the actual episode was, but basically, I think in 2020, like more money was printed in 2020 than was ever printed, like in the history of the dollar, basically.
Yeah,
something insane like that.
50% of the current money supply. It was like 50%, by 50%.
Okay. Yeah, and it's crazy.
In 1 year.
The main issue as well is the velocity of money. So I don't know if you guys have seen or heard of that statistic, but normally what will happen is, someone's given $1, they spend that $1, and that means, there's velocity. It's actually moving throughout the economy. Right. At the moment, it's not moving. I think it's 1.08. So every US dollar, it doesn't even circulate once. It circulates 0.08 at the times. So that just shows you that there's all this capital being put in, investments and all these other things where it doesn't actually move around. And that is, a little bit concerning that they're just printing more money and it's not actually moving, and it's maybe not going to the places they want it to go, which is potentially, people from a lower background who they want to help, maybe with the struggles that they're having during COVID. It's more going to people who are investing it into, fixed income or equities or the crypto or whatever, and just parking it there. They're not actually investing it in the economy, which could be why we, see stagflation if there's not that growth. So that could be quite interesting as well. And we'll have to see. Unfortunately, I think it's, sometimes it's a fool's game to predict what's going to happen more than a year's time.
No, but if you get it right, then you'll be like Michael Burry and make wrong predictions as much as you want. He's the guy who nailed The Big Short. That's all that matters.
Very true. Very true.
So get it on record.
It's been changing around quite a bit, hasn't it? I don't know if you've been watching it.
I just know that he throws a lot of predictions out that are wrong.
Yeah. You can throw a lot of stuff at the wall, and if one thing sticks, you're a genius.
You only got to be right once.
Yeah, and then they'll just delete all your past tweets about wrong things and look, I'm right.
Just make it so generic. Like
I've seen some people do that, and you're like, what is wrong with you? Like, they literally just post random predictions, and then if it's right, they'll delete the rest.
Oh my God, really? That's terrible. Yeah.
That's how gambling newsletters work. They'll send out a football game. They'll send out the winners they'll just pick half and half. And then so everybody that got the one team that won, they're like, these guys know what they're doing.
Yeah. Smart. And I guess that's a risk as well. If heaps of retail traders come in and they're looking at it from that perspective, it's almost like a rush, isn't it? Like gambling rather than, you don't even have to do that much research, but it's just trying to be a little bit smarter.
So what you're saying is when we look at our stocks that we're watching, we should be having 2 episodes, one on Spotify and one on Apple.
Yeah,
and that way we can always be right.
Yeah, there you go. Coca-Cola's going up. Coca-Cola's going down.
We know what we're doing next year.
Even if it keeps dipping, just keep buying.
Right.
Always goes up.
Yeah, this has been great catching up with you, Anthony. We can't wait to be guests on your show and have you back on for a full-length episode sometime in the future. But for now, we got to kick you out. We got more guests to get in here.
Where can the people find you?
Yeah, no problem. First of all, thank you so much. And as I said, I'm a massive fan of your guys' work. And it's crazy. I think I could talk to you guys for hours. Like 15 minutes definitely feels...
Oh, well, thank you.
Unlucky for you, maybe, but put up with me for that long. But yeah, so where you can find me, as you said, on YouTube. So I've got a podcast of my own. So it's called What the Finance, which is like WT Finance, like haha, very funny.
Still love that name. Still love that name.
Thank you. I stole it and I got a trademark it next. So I'm on YouTube. I'm on all platforms like Spotify, iTunes. You can find me all there. Twitter as well, just under my name, Anthony Fatseas, and on LinkedIn as well. I'm actually quite active on LinkedIn, just under my name as well.
Might have to add that to. We've got all these. Anthony and every other guest we're talking to is on our guest page too. We'll have a link to that in the episode description. So if you want to find any of these links to all these things, they'll all be listed in there.
Yeah, perfect. And I was going to share the other one with on LinkedIn, but I thought it might not have been professional, dropping the C-bomb here and there. So I was like, well, maybe the future employers, maybe that's not a good idea.
Wait, did we do that? Did we drop C-bombs? I don't remember. If we did
I remember like the Australian
accent. I know we did the week after, I think, when I told Dan he was my cunt.
No, somebody definitely got called a cunt lovingly.
Oh.
Yeah, no, because it was like the Australian accents and like Australian sayings.
We'll bleep that dead so we can share this one on LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Yeah. We'll bleep all the cocks and all the cunts.
Yeah. Keep them to yourself, mate.
Oh God, we don't help ourselves, do we?
Nope.
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, this has been fantastic. Thanks again, Anthony.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
All right, Kyle, I'm excited for our next guest. You want to roll them on in here with a good introduction?
Dr. G, local dentist here in Peoria, also a part-time stock trader. We chatted with him, when was that, a couple months ago, trying to do another beginner episode, introduction to technical analysis. So wanted to bring Dr. G back, see if he's made any progress since we last chatted with him. Dr. G, how you doing?
Good, and you? Hello, all.
Oh, we're doing great. Just absorbed right now in the chess championship matches, but that's not stock, so we'll save that for a new podcast.
Yeah, we get a little break.
So how you been? What's happened since we last chatted with you?
So yeah, I've had my up and down there, where a moment where you feel like you want to give up, you're like, forget it, but
we've all had those. Have those once a week.
Yeah, I get it. Or you think you do everything right, and then it just doesn't work out, or
isn't that weird though? That's kind of the game that we play, though. I mean, even if you do everything right, it's still a game of probabilities.
Yep.
Like it may be winning 7 out of 10 times. That means it's also losing 3 out of 10.
Yeah, you got to be okay with that.
Yep, and that's why it's so key to be quick to get out if it's not going your way.
Yep. I remember, the last time we talked and everything, we mentioned options, and I looked into it, like actually look into it to understand it and everything. And with my impulsiveness, the first thing I did was get a contract that didn't work out in my favor, and I'm just seeing it bleed. But I kind of feel now that I know why it was the wrong time. And I've been looking more at indicators and charts, and I feel like I really do, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot more confident and all that. So after last time, we talked about, volume by price. Mm-hmm. And I looked at that, and you could see clearly how it kind of reflects the support and resistance.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's nice, And I remember last time I talked about, red days and green days, and I would freak out on the red days and everything. And right now I'm actually looking at it as a very positive thing. Especially right now.
Especially if you can buy puts and take advantage and capitalize on that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
when you're trading, you don't care about which direction it moves. You just want it to move.
I haven't done any puts or shorting yet, but looking at it now, I'm so tempted. But I'm like, let me wait for this to flip over again and see some consistent success, and then I'll do the puts.
Those red days become juicy pullbacks.
Right. Yeah. Then they look like opportunities instead of panic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It looks like a great opportunity.
As fun as the short side is, you got to remember too that like when you're playing the shorts, you got to be quick with those because the overall trends of markets is obviously up.
It's got an upward bias by default.
Mm-hmm.
So the longer you stay into those, then the harder it is to capitalize on that. So I'm looking back at the chart that I think we analyzed with you. And I don't remember if we did that on the air or if that was just before the call, but I think it was Microsoft that we were looking at. Do you remember what we were looking for there as far as testing levels?
I remember, we drew some lines and we noticed I had, a consistent like higher highs and lower higher lows. So it was like a bullish trend, and you still see that,
Yep. It still hasn't made a new higher or lower low yet, so the trend is still intact. Yes, for sure. Also, looks like it was tagging all-time highs, so looks like maybe we analyzed that one correctly.
Yeah, that actually, one thing that has been brought through my attention is like RSI and knowing when something's undervalued or overvalued. Mm-hmm. And that makes a big difference, obviously.
Oversold or undersold?
Yeah.
The big thing with the indicators, though, is just got to be careful not to try to put too much stock into too many of them.
In any one at a given time, right?
Yeah. A lot of times, like the best use for indicators are to scare you out of a trade, I think. Like when you're doing your analysis and there's something that you want to buy, then you flip through your indicators and then you see like, oh, maybe this is overbought. Maybe it's not quite the right time yet.
Yeah.
Like they work great for justifying reasons to not trade, less so for justifying reasons to trade.
Well, yeah. Well, definitely, it's a lot more accurate than guessing.
Yeah.
So did you do any of the observation challenges that we put forth to you? Just sit back and watch for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
I mean, watching while still being involved in other stocks and stuff like that.
Okay. It's really hard to not trade.
It is. It really is. But one thing I've done to change a little is instead of putting it, in individual stocks, I've been looking at like ETFs that are, bundled with just a few companies. Like, for example, SOXL.
Yeah.
That one's a semiconductor. And you would have doubled your money if you were gotten in October.
Right.
That's a triple leverage fund.
Yep. Yeah, that's one of your favorites, isn't it, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So those ETFs, they'll do futures contracts. They bundle a package of stuff, like you're saying, based on just like a narrow view of that sector. Mm-hmm. And they over leverage on the high performers. So when it goes up, it tends to go up about 3 times what the actual average of semiconductors is going up. Mm-hmm. It's wild. But yeah, if you catch, like, if you're looking at the regular semiconductor ETF, you're like, this is breaking out. Like, yeah, pick up the SOXL. That's the one you want.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, looking at the charts, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So are you feeling more comfortable with the plot and your levels and applying the technical analysis to it? Is it?
Yeah.
Are there any other stocks that you've been seeing success with?
Well, it's hard to go wrong with like Microsoft, but I've been kind of just sticking to like the blue chip companies and then those kind of 3 times ETFs. Mm-hmm. Because, when you look at the trends, one thing I've been looking at a lot recently, and for me was like a breakthrough, is the KDJ indicator.
The KDJ? I've never even heard of that one.
Not familiar.
Yeah, you should check it out. Because,
yeah, I'm making a note so we can put a link to it in the description.
It's like looking at it, I mean, it has 3 lines, one basically is support resistance. And I mean, I'm not being completely accurate here, but, it's basically just, gets the momentum. And if you compare it to the charts, you see, whenever it's flipping, that's a great time to get in, and basically it gets you out before it falls. And looking at it, it seems, like seeing this, recent crash, looking at the chart, I'm like, it has to crash. Like it has to go down. It's a super high RSI and, these lines are all converging. And as soon as it did, they announced the next day, first case of Omicron in California. So it really has me like, wait a minute.
Some of these things too, they work till they don't. So
that's what I'm scared of.
Give it time too. Just don't ever put everything all into one.
No.
Price action and volume are really the two main things that you need that can inform pretty much any trade. Like those should have the highest weight. The other indicators are definitely fun.
But I did just throw KDJ on my trading view. I'm gonna start watching it.
I think it's worth taking a look at. Yeah. New indicators are fun. Well, shit. All right. Sounds like we maybe helped you out a little bit then, huh?
Oh, no, a lot.
It feels good to know.
You got any big questions written down or that burning in your mind that you'd like to ask?
Big questions right now? Probably not, because right now it feels like such a good time.
Right? Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, I've capitalized on what you guys told me, and really just been using that, and
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Love hearing that. Makes it all worth it.
Before I was just focused on what the news was saying, and really it has nothing to do.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Like now you start looking at the news and you're like, like I see when the Omicron variant thing was starting to pop up, and I see these stories popping up saying that it's time to buy the dip. Now's the time to grab it, get it. It's cheap. Like, I don't think that's the right answer. I think that's other people, the people with money wanting to sell, and they're trying to drum up interest to sell it to somebody because you need someone to sell it to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like all manipulation.
What was the one we talked about last episode, Dan? Snapchat. Somebody had a price target on it of $76. Like, where did you get 76 from?
Peloton. Yeah. Well, $76. Where
you get 76? There's nothing that supports that level.
I got it from the dartboard when I threw the dart, and it's 76.
Like, this looks like it's still going down. Why?
Yeah, and you notice that they give so much importance to like any comments that show up on the news. Like Powell the other day spoke, as soon as he opened his mouth, everything fell.
Well, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
Powell used to be a dove too, and I'm not sure what's going on now. He suddenly decided to be a hawk. Yeah. So what's planned for next year then?
Oh, next year?
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna definitely get more into options, but I want to be very careful because I don't want to lose contract money. But it is a great way, to gain a lot of profit without having to put down a lot at all.
Yeah. The biggest problem with options is you have to be right in the time frame too. Like it's not just enough to get the direction correct. You have to do it fast enough to overcome time decay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of double-edged there, but if you arm yourself, if you get really good at picking reading the support and resistance levels and the breakouts, and they can definitely really help in leveraging, like you said, a small amount of money into a much larger oversized return. One thing that you could look at doing is just opening up a separate account just for options.
Okay.
As that way you can put like a set amount that you're comfortable, learning with, because that's really what you're going to be doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then that way it prevents you from putting your main account at risk.
That makes sense. Not getting emotional and before you know it, you lost more than you ever got.
Right. Yeah. Because you don't want to start chasing losses. This is basically you paying your tuition to learn how they trade, right?
Yep. I've actually used that to be a piece for myself.
There you go. Yeah, that helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I told my friends too. I was like, when he's freaking out, I'm like, calm down. You're learning.
Yeah, as long as you take something away from it.
Yeah,
you're just paying your dues.
I can't wait for to see a big turnaround and actually make profit. And I'm gonna contact you guys and be like, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, right. I've often said to Kyle, like, I wish we'd learned all this stuff right before COVID hit.
God, I know.
You identify that bottom and you jump in with your cash. Like, that's the time to do it. And now we're seeing a pullback correction. I don't know when the bottom's going to happen, but I know I'll be able to watch and identify the bottom. Like, oh, look, higher highs and higher lows. We're back at it, boys. Come on.
Jump in.
Jump in.
Throwing cash at the monitor.
Try the KDJ. Look at the weekly chart, and I mean, it looks like it doesn't fail. Like it kind of waits for the volume to go up. It waits to see real momentum, and then the lines converge, and then you're like, all right, it's time to get in.
KDJ. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm looking at a user one. They've got a bunch on TradingView, but one has a few thousand people subscribed.
The one by I Am Altcoin.
Yeah.
All right, let's try that and see.
So AMD is still green, $15 below its high.
I mean, of course, the weekly will look very different than
the daily. No, that's what I'm doing. Well, the thing I'm wondering, because a lot of indicators, when you're looking in the past, they're perfect, right? But the question is like, I want to see this as I'm watching the chart develop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to go red, after it's they call it lagging indicators, right? It's going to go red after it's gone red. The question is, if I'm looking at it on the hourly, how many fake outs would it give me? Like it's never as simple as like, it's red, sell, it's green, buy, right?
Yeah.
Like so I love a new indicator, and it's on my chart. I'm going to be watching it. But those are my questions. Is how can I use this to inform my trade in the moment while the market's open?
Yep.
I've tried to watch it too. Like, I can't really do it at work, and that's another reason I do swing trading, because I was trying to do day trading, and I will catch myself driving to work, staring at my phone. I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Let me go to the bathroom and pretend to use the bathroom just so I can check what's going on and sell if I need to.
He's on anesthesia. He won't know. Oh God.
Yeah, sometimes it's like, man, can everyone just leave me for a second so I can check this?
I know. Oh, the worst is when you like miss an exit because you're having to actually do work.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that really annoys me.
All right. Thanks so much for coming back, Dr. G. I'm so beside myself excited to hear you doing well. Off of learning a little bit of technical analysis. That's just warms my heart.
Me too.
No, thank you guys a lot. Like, man, for taking the time to reach out and everything. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it.
Just glad we didn't waste your time.
No, you didn't. No. I've gotten people to listen to the podcast and spread it out to friends and all that.
Oh, we need to get you. We got some new mugs and swag too. So we'll try to get you some more stuff so you can get to some of those guys you got listening to. Nice.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you got it. All right. And you're out of here. No, sorry. Ooh, Kyle, it's been a long year.
Yeah, it has. Are you sad it's over? Because I'm not sure how to feel. I mean, it's been like one of the greatest years as far as trading goes.
Yeah.
But it also came with all that other baggage that we will not name.
I'm not sad to see it go, but I'm really, really pleased that I lived it and that we've made such developments this year. And I hope all the listeners out there have been able to grow and develop themselves along with us, because it's really, we're getting to a really good place here with trading.
I think more than anything, I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, me too.
Dan, do you want to? I've been giving this a little thought, and I actually think that it would really be kind of cool if you ended it with the rendition of Altsin Lang.
Oh yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Yeah, like a serious one, like no spoofs, like just a heartfelt version of it.
I don't know that song. I've never even heard of it.
It's the one they always sing at New Year's. And all acquaintance be forgot.
Sounds like you know it.
I can't sing.
I've never heard that song before in my life, Kyle.
I feel like you're foiling me.
Consider yourself foiled, sir. All right, everybody. Old Lang Syne or whatever you call it. It's just not as fun to sing when you're trying to be serious.
Well,
can I at least play the really drunk version instead of the serious version?
Sure.
Woohoo!
What's the drunk version?
It's just the version I got shit-faced before I sang.
Oh. Well, okay. So much for the sincere.
Like everybody does at New Year's. Come on, it's authentic.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. Make sure you're listening to this when you're really ripped.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's going to sound better.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old Lang Syne? For old Lang Syne, my dear, for old Lang Syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for days of old Lang Syne.
really glad that you stuck with us through this year, and we're looking forward to great things to come. Hope everything went really well for you this holiday season, and here's to fantastic January. Happy trading, folks.
Here's the 2022.
2022.
Whoa,
Fuck 2020.
went back in time there.
Fuck 2020. That year never happened. It never happened, Kyle. Strike it from the record.
I was referring to hindsight.
Oh.
Two Bulls in a China Shop is an entertainment program, and all thoughts and opinions expressed in the show belong to the hosts and not of any company. They are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide entertainment about stocks in the financial industry of trading. If you make trades based on what you hear in this show, you assume all risks for those trades.